what's up guys, it's Sal here, and this is my review of the Samsung Galaxy Fold. By the time you're watching this video, you've probably seen the snippets I posted of the Galaxy Fold on my socials. Well, I've been using it for over a week now, about 2 weeks now, and here are my thoughts on this device. Whenever I ask people about the Samsung Galaxy Fold, the first thing they always talk about is the price. The price tag is quite high, and of course the form factor, which, you know, it folds like a notebook. It's one of the first and foremost folding smartphones we got this year. The Samsung Galaxy Fold is a $2,000 smartphone and Samsung in Nigeria is selling this for 830,000 naira, which is a lot of money, almost 1 million naira for a smartphone. Is it worth it? Should anyone even buy this? I will share my pros and cons, things I liked and things I felt could have been done better, and I'll have my usual timestamps in the description and pinned comments so you can skip ahead to sections that you want to get to quickly. Alright, I'll shut up now, and without further ado, let's get to the video. Okay, so the unboxing experience of the Samsung Galaxy Fold is pretty much what you'd expect from a top tier premium, or should I say luxury product, with boxes on boxes on boxes. And getting into the final box, it's a white thick material with a sort of folded warped Galaxy inscription right on it. Taking that top off, you get the note that reminds you that this is a luxury device. And that being said, you're ushered into the future, you know. Then we get the almighty Fold itself with a film on it, care instructions that we'll get to much later. Underneath that is a thick paper holding, and underneath said box is a box that houses the case or cases for both sides of the Fold. It feels very soft to the touch and indeed like a premium carbon fiber material. Very nice and precise cuts and finish to it. Further down inside the box, you get one of the start guides in Arabic, a warranty card, another warranty card, basically 2 warranty cards, so you know, to reassure you. Transfer guide to move data from your previous phone to the Samsung Galaxy Fold, and a mini tutorial on how to apply the case to the device. I must say that the case actually looks and it felt very nice on the device. I never took it off for the most part during my use because, I mean, apart from having a huge invisible obvious fragile sticker on it, it did feel very nice with the case in the hand now without the case. And I say it's a nice addition, and it also has this embossed Fold written on it. You also get a quick start guide in English and the SIM ejector tool. I also like that the Galaxy Fold comes with the Galaxy Buds included. This is something a company like Apple should take note of, maybe including something like AirPods in their iPhones. But hey, I've had the white Galaxy Buds myself and I really love it. I've been using it with the Note 10 Plus already, and indeed it was a pleasant experience to have, you know, both of them. I have more to share about that later in this video. Still inside the box, we get the adaptive fast charging power brick, USB-C to USB to do on-the-go stuff for transfers. We also get the USB-C charging cable, and lastly, extra ear tips for the Galaxy Buds. Say we remove the Galaxy Buds, which currently goes for $129. Taking that away from the original price of the phone, you get $1,851. So that's about 667,000 naira for the phone alone. It's still on the high side. On the plastic in front of the device, we get the warning instructions to not press hard on it or put any sharp object close to it. You also see that it's not a water resistant device and that you should not put any screen protector on it. It also contains quite a few magnets inside, and it should be taken away from credit cards or medical devices. If you have those, you should consult a physician before you use your device. Alright. As far as the device's build quality, taking the plastic wrap off, we get a very interesting outlook on the front. A 7.3-inch panel right up here, which is made of plastic film material with the raised front lip, which is made of a thicker plastic. It's very fragile on all sides, and the back as well is made of glass on both sides, and the middle hinge is made of metal as well. Even without using the device much, you can see the crease, but it's not so obvious when the screen is on, unless you tilt it. On top of the Fold, when unfolded, you get the speaker and the microphone port up top, and on the bottom there's a USB-C port and another microphone port beside it, and a second speaker grill. You get a stereo speaker set that is very reliable. There's no headphone jack, of course, because Samsung gives you Galaxy Buds in the package. On the left side is where you get the slot for a single SIM card that has a rubber ring to keep dust out no expandable memory card on here, just one slot, because you already have a massive 512 gigabytes of UFS 3 storage on this guy. I don't think you really need any more storage than that, alongside the 12 gigabytes RAM. On the right side is where you get the volume rockers, the sort of power button that is also a Bixby button, and the fingerprint reader. In front of the Galaxy Fold, when folded, you get a 10 megapixel sensor, which also has the ambient sensor and works for face unlock, and you also get the earpiece right beside it, which is a metal frame. When you get inside, you get the same 10 megapixel camera with an additional 8 megapixel camera for depth sensing, similar ambient light sensor, and this section also works for face unlock. On the back, we get pretty much the same camera setup as we got on the Note 10 Plus, 12 megapixel wide, 12 megapixel telephoto, and a 16 megapixel ultra wide, just without the time of flight sensor on the Note 10 Plus. And no mention of a super steady video feature, but the video footage I got on the Fold was okay, and I'll be checking that later in this video. The lower part of the back has the certifications and a bit of fainted text. In terms of weight, this device is almost double the weight of my Note 10 Plus at 275 grams, and with that light carbon fiber case, it goes up to 289 grams compared to 197 on the Note 10 Plus. About color options for the Galaxy Fold, there are 4 colors: Cosmos Black, Space Silver, Martian Green, and Astro Blue, but from what I read, the Martian Green and Astro Blue are only available for the 5G versions. It took just a minute to boot and set up. Despite the novelty, it's much faster than quote-unquote normal phones. You get the prompt warning that your device is very delicate, like with the plastic outside. Of course, it's an Android device at heart, rocking Android 9. The display on the Fold is one of a kind at 7.3 inches. Unfolded, it's basically a tablet. However, when it comes to the folded display, it's 4.6 inch. And putting it in context, it's almost the exact screen size as the Samsung S7 Mini, but taller. It's a 720p display at 720 by 1680. It's a 21 by 9 aspect ratio display. When watching videos on it can feel very small to view things or even type things. It's got bezels, and something to note is that when you want to watch videos on it when it's folded, you can set it to 1080p or even 1440p. That's the video quality, but it's a 720p display because it folds into the other display, and when it's unfolded, it becomes a 7.3 inch dynamic AMOLED display. Resolution is right at 1536 by 2152 with a 362 ppi and HDR10 plus. Screen to body ratio is 85.7%, and video quality on it was actually good. It streams HDR at 2K, something you won't find in other HDR displays that are in Samsung. My only gripe is the notch. Although Samsung pushes the UI elements there to the center, and some optimized apps will black out in horizontal mode, this curved notch to the side, while it may not be as symmetrical as it could have been for many people, putting it in the middle is not ideal either, since it's mainly folding at that center point, and many people will hold on to it either side, so they will definitely be blocking it, if they're holding it that way. Basically, the two most common ways to hold this would either be to completely block the notch, which will give room for the stereo speakers, and I thought this was the more ideal way, or to make it stick right into your face while blocking the speakers, and it will cut off some content. Another gripe is the middle crease. This one isn't really a gripe because it's not so obvious when it's turned on or when you're watching something, unless it's completely white or slightly angled, then it will be noticeable. But whenever people saw me using this device, that was the first thing that they saw and they pointed out. For a different kind of display, the Fold is really sharp. Plus, there's no edge vignette like the glass AMOLEDs that you get, or curved glass. You get dark mode, blue light filter, and the normal settings for Samsung's new displays. You can also adjust how you want the navigation keys to be positioned, left, right, or centered. Increase in touch sensitivity of the screen for use with screen protectors is a setting, and that's just for formality because you can't use screen protectors on this device, especially inside, but you can on the outside. And as far as that outside display, it's really small, and you sort of begin to start appreciating, or should I say missing, regular smartphones with 5 or 6 inch displays. I could barely use it, actually use it, but it worked as some sort of info screen or second screen. I definitely use the Fold more unfolded. You can remap the side button from the advanced settings in the phone settings app. You get a few options for what happens when you double press or when you press and hold. There's a stereo speaker and stereo microphone setup going on here, and we'll test how well the Galaxy Fold performs with sound quality. Here's how the microphone and the speaker performs. Alright guys, so this is the sound quality of the Samsung Galaxy Fold. I'm using it the same way I would hold it when I'm making a phone call. Let me know what you think about the sound quality in the comment section below.
Tell them they can go and write this down.
quality was very good to my ears. I don't have any complaints about it. It sounded really good, and of course, as you saw, there's no headphone jack. You get a pair of free Galaxy Buds. Free. I use the Galaxy Buds in the gym for travel a lot, and for quick pros and cons about it, I like that it has touch controls, but I had a few issues with people hearing me during calls and sound cutting off. Oh, and the Fold has wireless power share to charge your Galaxy Buds or maybe your iPhone, the ultimate flex. As far as day-to-day use goes for the Galaxy Fold, for me it was pleasant. It was a pleasant experience using something that was kind of novel, but I had to adjust to it and treat it like an egg. I feel like smartphones are important to a lot of people. It's become almost passive at this point, and people don't think much about getting what they want, in and out of their smartphones. It's second nature. However, this is not that. The Fold requires a lot more care in handling. It's not water or dust proof, so you may want to keep your phone closed and away from dust at all times. Multitasking on the Fold is tablet tier. Of course, trust Samsung to utilize that space. You can pop in quite a lot of apps on the screen with quick response times. Of course, with that 12GB of RAM and Snapdragon 855, I'd say it's a great combo. You can open 3 apps at once with the line dimensions, and you can even pop in a couple more pop-up windows using them individually and in a smart form and minimize them into draggable docks, sort of what you'd expect on a computer. And I did this numerous times with zero lags. Of course, to the huge specs it comes with, you get continuity, so from what you're doing inside, you can continue on the front screen and vice versa. This would work with most apps, especially the ones with a lot of scrolling, but it may not work for certain games as it did with me. Inside apps like Instagram, for instance, because of the aspect ratio of the Fold, you get some content cut off, which could be a potential downside, but when it's folded, it works well. So that's one quirk of having a sort of squared aspect ratio display. The Galaxy Fold comes with one of the highest specs of 2019, Snapdragon 855, very good processor, which I mentioned earlier. No single lag during my use, but of course, I only had it for about 2 weeks. Coupled with that whopping 12GB of RAM, there are no lower or higher options, but seriously, how high do you really want to go? It's crazy performance from here, and you can still use the device alongside as an actual monitor with DeX support, just like the Note 10, 10 Plus, and their higher offerings. Okay, the specs are great. How about gaming experience on this device? Well, I have my gaming reviews coming out very soon, so stick around for that. However, during my individual tests, 30 minutes of gaming took about 10% each time. I think battery was about 25% when I started gaming, and it went down to 15% after 30 minutes. And after another 30 minutes again, it went down to 2%. So gaming graphics are actually very good on this guy. PUBG was set to the highest setting, HDR. There was no lag, there was no pixel loss, and even checking the frame rate, it barely drops in most games. Of course, in terms of user experience, there was a crease there. When you're focusing on content, it's not obvious unless it's tilted. Oh, and most games would work in the unfolded section. The rest of your apps may work in the front screen, but like I said, not games. PUBG and Asphalt did work when playing games on the small screen, but that's probably not what anyone would want to get this for. When you check the device on the inside, there are 2 batteries placed on either side. Both battery cells are split almost evenly, with one being slightly higher, to make up a total of 4,380 milliamp hours. And my day-to-day use was a bit weird. On heavy use, it kind of lasted for like 5 to 6 hours because I turned on the hotspot location for Google Maps. Also, battery life overnight when I had my data on would drain by about 20%, but on a few occasions where I just had the mobile data turned on and was not using the device that much, it was able to reach that 10-hour mark that it was rated for, and sometimes it surpasses it, but it was a bit rare for me. The Fold comes with an 18-watt charger in the box, and with regards to the charging speed, I would say it's pretty normal. It took 30 minutes to get from 0% to 30%, another 30 minutes to get from that to 54%. It means in an hour, it gets from 0 to 54%. 30 minutes again went to 79%, and another 30 minutes gets you to 97%. Overall, it took 2 hours and 5 minutes to get to 100%. You already know that the cameras on the Fold and the unfolded sections are the same with the addition of an inside section. Well, you can use your face to unlock your Fold from the front and from inside as well, options. And you can also use the fingerprint reader, which is located to the side of the device. That is more reliable, it's more secure, and it's actually fast. Now, the cameras on the Galaxy Fold, as I mentioned earlier, we get a 10 megapixel camera up front, and when it's unfolded, we get the same 10 megapixel camera and an 8 megapixel camera beside it for depth sensing in live focus. So portraits will be better, when the fold is open. On the back, it's basically the same as the Note 10 Plus. As I mentioned, 12 megapixel wide, 12 megapixel telephoto, 60 megapixel ultra wide, with the exception of a time of flight sensor that the Note 10 Plus has. You get pretty much all the great features like in live portraits, 960 fps. The viewfinder is quite large, and it works well when you're doing wide angle stuff when it's unfolded. But again, on the front display is actually small to view, and you can't really use the viewfinder as much. Portrait or live focus shots blur the background with software, and indoors it's not perfect, and you can see some part of the hair being blurred with the background. Of course, in this case, the hair and the background are the same color, so it would be tough to separate one from the other. Also, you would have to be deliberate about how much smoothing you want in your shots. Normal indoor selfies also have a level of noise to them, so there's that. Just be sure to remove any default effects if you don't want too much smoothing. Selfies outdoors were far much better than those taken inside. Of course, for many reasons, there's a lot of light. Unlike many wide-angle cameras, the skin tones or the colors are still very vibrant. The wide-angle lens is a 16 megapixel one, higher than the other two, which are 12 megapixels. Skin tones on all lenses looked good though. In other scenarios like greenery and showing the sky, I really love the shots from the wide angle, and the normal lenses didn't fall short either. The only time you would notice some form of discoloration or loss of focus is going up close to many subjects and trying to capture. It seemed a bit lesser in color compared to the detail of the 1 and the 2x lenses. You could also utilize live focus for plants as well, with that look that we're familiar with. I love the details of the zoom shots. Basically, the fold, just like the Note 10, can whip out some nice looking macro shots. You can get really close with the subject. That was cool to see as well. Night mode shots really did look well on here. It takes a few short seconds to process, but the results were worth it. Night mode is not so effective if there is at least a decent amount of light, and the video camera on this guy, again, just like the Note 10, we get 1x camera that's quite smooth and the ultra wide being quite steady while recording video and somewhat when you zoom. So this is the front facing camera video quality of the Samsung Galaxy Fold. Let me know what you think about the front-facing camera's video quality as well as the sound quality in the comment section. In my opinion, it actually looks very nice. Even though there's a bit of exposure there, it actually adjusts it quickly in a way. Yeah, let me know what you think about the video quality as well as the sound quality, as I said in the comment section. This is the camera quality unfolded. This is the front-facing camera video quality of it when it's folded. This is this part of the Samsung Galaxy Fold's camera. Let me know what you think about the front-facing camera's video quality as well as the sound quality again in the comment section. As far as my verdict, a big standard for a lot of people is the price of the Galaxy Fold. How much do you think the phone will cost?
Let's say 250. To be from 500,000.
So the phone actually costs 800,000 naira.
Wow, it's worth it. Hey, I don't need that kind of phone. It's expensive
because it's double the price.
For almost $1 million naira, or 830,000 naira to be specific, or $1,980, approximately $2,000, the Galaxy Fold, which is still a beta or a first-gen product, is the stuff for enthusiasts who are willing to contribute to a new frontier for Samsung. If you're into the coverage of the Fold, remember the accidental damages, and Samsung worked on it and shipped them again with extra layers of protection. I also saw how durable the hinge was by jerry-rigged everything. It's not bendable in the opposite direction, but it's fragile. It's a huge mix of toughness and fragility. And I remember, in fact, that the Galaxy Fold, when I announced it on my stories, it was kind of sold out for a bit, enthusiasts. And I think that the Fold is a phone for the future. But what do you think? The novelty factor is there, of course, and I think developers are taking advantage of the form factor, Samsung's data on the usage of the current models. I saw a teaser that The Verge posted and a video by Mr. Who's the Boss about the next Galaxy Fold. Doing the Fold in sort of a portrait form is to definitely be something to look out for. That's pretty much it, guys. If you had the money to buy a foldable smartphone, which one would you buy? Let me know in the comment section down below. Or if you could get the Samsung Galaxy Fold, would you buy it? If you like this video, please hit the like button and hit the subscribe button and turn on post notifications so you'll be the first to receive new videos when I upload them. You can also follow me on social media with my handles displayed right here. And yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one. The Fold requires a lot more care and handling. Who are these people, for God's sake? Ugh.